somebody to hold my hand. I need somebody here with me. I need somebody to help me. But all they can do is just listen. That's what he was saying. Listen. Nobody can help me. Nobody can help me but the Lord.
Prison ministry is a must. I've been doing this for 42 years, I believe it to be the case. I received some letters from the prisons. I was totally uninvolved, although there were a lot of people I knew who had been to prisons. But I learned a great lesson. They needed me, and I needed them. Sumter Correctional Institute. We went there. I like going because of the men. I've had people there I've known for 31 years, 38 years. Some I've just met in a few months who tell me, you remember when I saw you at such and such, when I saw you at so-and-so. But Sumter has been this friendly atmosphere, but it also has something else that gets me. There they have youth, red caps. And these kids are up to 18 years old. They may be 15 years old.
The fact that I wasn't in there, you know, because growing up in the rural neighborhood of South St. Petersburg, I mean, there could have been a lot of incidents that I could have been involved in that would have pushed me further into that life or would have caused me to, you know, go down that wrong path and to do something that, you know, would dictate my life for a long time. And as I sat on the other side of the pews in the chapel, I just couldn't do anything but, you know, glorify God, because that could have been me over there.
Each one of those young men, when I look, I see that could be my son. In fact, once I'm inside, I really lose myself and I know that I did not birth that child, but each one of those young men become my son. So when I'm standing there and I'm speaking out to them, I got to speak to them like a mother. I want them to understand that I love you and God love you, and just give yourself to God. They're young and I really do get all emotional because I have grandsons that's in jail right now. I would love to just be able to reach over there and hug them and tell them, don't be afraid, it's gonna be all right. And I can't really do it physically, so I try to do it spiritually.
From your head to the floor, he'll bless you more. From the left to the right, from the front to the back, from your head to the floor, he'll bless you more. God spoke from his mouth, from the north to the south, from the east to the west. He'll bless you. This is best.
It's more of an atmosphere of people being very willing and open. They sing with me, they talk with me, and I feel like those are my brothers. Those are my brothers and my sons now. When I first went, I was like the son to many of them, the men that were there. And they would say, hey, young fella, such and such, we're glad you're coming. And now over the years, I've become the father and the grandfather.
The prisoners were engaging, they were wonderful. I mean, they engaged every single aspect of you. They asked you questions, they wanted to know about your life story, and that's something that I wouldn't have expected. I mean, I expected me walking into this big gymnasium, all these mean, mugging prisoners, and I mean, you know, people who had a lot of problems and they didn't really want to talk, but it was a polar opposite. I mean, joy, happiness, love. I mean, I felt like I was at home, amazingly.
The whole thing is a very spiritual experience. Human beings connect on so many levels. And sometimes we only connect eye to eye or ear to ear, but we need to connect spirit to spirit. How will we give these men, take them from where they are and give them another reality that they actually feel like we're not in prison at this moment, that we're living, I can be myself. And I tried to provide that openness, and that's what I felt there in that chapel. These guys were looking they were open, the older group. The younger group, it took a little time, but by the time Brenda started testifying, those guys started laughing. They got so involved. I just loved it. You feel like we are an opportunity for them to connect, and they are our opportunity to hear what's going on in the world and with our youth. Because if we can connect with people, we can change this world. We can do it.
What's now?
I traveled with Bishop Henry Porter to prison ministries, and I love it. I love going to the prisons because men and women need hope. And so what we do is we go into these prisons and we share our testimonies and our songs and Bishop ministers, and we show them real love. We show them that you can be done, had a bad or hard time, or made a mistake, and God is still standing there waiting on you to return to Him. I love it because it gives me the opportunity to share my testimony of how God brought forth deliverance in my life, and it's very rewarding to come after you shared, and they come and they say, we appreciate your testimony because now it's helped me to reach out to God more. And that's what we need. We need more people reaching out to God, loving God, allowing God to rebuild their lives just like He rebuilt mine. I got a sense of humor. Even though I'm a serious looking person, I love to make people laugh. I like for people to enjoy, because I enjoy sharing. So I want you to enjoy what I'm sharing. And that's God. That's the way God raised me up to be like that. Each song is so real to me. So when I'm singing, I put everything inside of me into it, even though I know that I'm not a professional singer. I sing to the glory of God. You know, we just want to worship God. We don't just be singing so somebody can say, oh, you sound beautiful. We are worshiping God. We just want to glorify God. So that's, when I'm standing there, I just want to give my all to God. Well, what happens to me is because I have 4 sons and I have 30 grandsons.
When we went into the chapel, I noticed there were drums, and I was a drummer, and he didn't have his drummer, so I was kind of anxious on, should I get up here and do these drums? Should I get up here and play these drums? And he kind of gave me the nod, so I was like, okay. And the whole time, the prisoner, and when I saw the 18 and under, it was saddening, but it was also encouraging, because I was like, I understand. I feel where they're coming from. I understand that, people have problems and people go through things, and situations happen for a reason, but you can choose whether to let those situations dictate your life or not. So, just going in there and talking to the people and talking to the kids and talking to my peers, and it was inviting. It made me want to go, and I'm definitely going next year. Just seeing the kids, and it was also the saddening part was when I saw a 15-year-old with life sentence. I couldn't fathom that. I couldn't understand that. It was just, I don't know. It was a sad moment. I felt for him. In my society, they depict a prisoner or an ex-con as a beast or, unhuman. And they're just human like us. We could have all fallen in that same predicament. So I have to keep that in mind with judging everybody. I mean, you have to judge things circumspectively. You have to look at it at all points, and you have to reason. So that kind of gave me a new aspect on how I look at people. It gave me a new mindset on prisoners. It gave me, because, you know, once you, the world and the Oxygen and Fox News and, you know, all of those things, you know, where they do like Scared Straight, you see all the prisoners, you know, yelling and screaming and you know, acting crazy, and you kind of get a mindset or a stereotype of an average prisoner. But when I was there, it was so loving and warming. They walked up, they wanted hugs. I mean, I reached out my hand to shake a prisoner's hand, and he grabbed him for a hug, and I'm like, I've never experienced, well, I never would have thought, you know, that this would happen, you know. I would have thought, you know, they'll be on edge too, just as I was on edge. But they were loving and warming and inviting, and that blew my mind.
The first time I ever went, I was scared. I went on a fast for 3 days, and then when I got there, the first thing I did was cry. And I fell over the organ, and I figured these men are just not going to receive me now because I'm showing I'm soft, maybe, you know. And when I opened my eyes, they were all in the aisles, lying on the floors all around, weeping too. And they said, we like it because you're straight up. That helped me. I grew. We need to connect because we have so many people in prison, 2 million nationwide, but Florida with 100,000 people. We can't separate ourselves from this society. We must do our best to make them understand we still care. They have families, mamas, daddies, sisters, brothers, children. The children, what gets me, because many of these children are growing up without fathers. We need to do the best I can, and whatever I can do, nobody has to ask me to do that. I'll have to go because I'm personally concerned. You know, when we walked into the gate and we were walking that long distance down, the first thing the guy said, hey, Brother Porter. Hey, Brother Porter. Some of them know me as Brother Porter, not Bishop and all. And as I walked down, I was thinking in my head, my group that has been traveling, they've been doing this for 42 years too. We've been doing it since 1972. This would make 43 years. 1973 and 74. They're a fine group of people, but remember, most of them were kids. They were teenagers when we first went. And so these teenagers going into prisons, feeling 5 gates closed behind you, clang, clang, clang. People, you know, searching us, walking through the search machines. It was trying. In large groups, it takes a longer time. The people have been so dedicated. They help me. We write. We make these contacts. Of course, we give them our basic ministry address, and we have a few rules. We tell them because we want to make sure everybody's still safe. But when we go there, we've never been assaulted. We've never been pushed or anything like that. I mean, in all these 40 years. And so what I'm doing when I'm sitting there, I gauge the people in the room. I sense what their needs are, and therefore we go for them. Every service is uniquely different. Yeah, when we first went to the prisons in the 70s, early 70s, I started going once a month. Then I was going like 3 times a month. And then they called us for Black History Month, African American History Month, and we travel about every day. And because most prisons now have 3 places, they have the main unit, they have the work camp, and they have, I can't remember the name of the other one, but they have 3 camps. So when I used to go to one prison and serve a good community, now you have to go to one, serve that group in the morning, and serve the next group in the early afternoon, and the next group in the late afternoon. And so we were doing, now it's like 100 or so prisons, it's so many of them. But I used to do almost all of them, traveling day after day, at our own expense, to try to reach out to these men and recover our society.